Welcome to Destination Marriage, a podcast about successfully navigating the winding roads of marriage. Whether you're newlyweds, engaged, looking to get married, or have been married for years, we want to share with you how we have navigated those winding roads over the past 19 years in our marriage.
Join us on this journey as we talk about real-life experiences in a marriage and what we have learned along the way. We discuss love, travel, fitness, raising kids, friendships, and much more, all from the perspective of our lives together.
Happiness, love, grace, passion are some of the things we all strive for in a marriage, and we invite you to take this journey with us.
Welcome to Destination Marriage.
Welcome to episode 48 of Destination Marriage. I'm Jackie.
And I'm Tommy.
And we are thrilled to have you join us on this journey today.
So I think we need to change our introduction, babe.
Yeah,
we have now officially been married for 20 years, and so our intro is now out of date.
Yeah, it's out with the 19 and with the 20, so we're going to have to work on that this week.
Yes, indeed. So we're really excited about today's episode. It's part 2 of our 20-year anniversary episodes. So before we went on our anniversary trip to Jamaica last week, we did a look back at what the past 20 years of marriage means to us and the importance, and also a sexpectations episode about what we've learned and what we tell.
Those are Tommy's favorite episodes,
Indeed.
by the way.
It was a lot of fun. So if you haven't listened yet, please download episode 47.
So like Tommy mentioned, we are back from our anniversary trip to Jamaica, and it was honestly one of the most needed vacations we've ever had.
Amen.
Honestly, we just needed a vacation.
I'm sure a lot of you guys do too, right?
Yeah.
It's just to get away.
We needed to get away. But let me just say, first of all, everyone and their mother is traveling right now. Everybody. So the prices for any trip, especially airlines, have skyrocketed. We literally looked at Aruba, Turks and Caicos, St. John, St. Lucia. We even checked out Mexico, but I guess they're getting attacked by
that
some
seaweed problem. It's like
What's
every
the name of
beach
it?
in Mexico. I forget what it's called, but we even found the map, like the official map.
Yeah, you can actually track the seaweed that's covering
and
the
basically
coast.
the entire eastern coast of Mexico, from Cancun all the way down to Playa del Carmen and all that, is just covered in that seaweed. It's terrible.
And you can't really swim in it. It smells like rotten eggs. So we decided we'd pass. And we actually found a beautiful resort there, but we just didn't want to risk it because we love to be in the ocean. Honestly, the
Drink
pool's
in hand,
fun.
right.
Yeah, the pool's a good time, but I like to be in the ocean.
We spent exactly 0 time in the pool when we were in Jamaica.
We did.
We didn't even go over by it. We just walked past it.
If I'm somewhere where the water is clear and
Calm.
calm, and I can just, why wouldn't I be in the ocean where I can see the bottom, right? I don't have to worry about what's hitting my toe, even though it's probably a piece of seaweed. So anyways, we landed on Sandals. And I know what you're thinking. Sandals, it's like, is that outdated? Let me just tell you, this is not your grandma's vacation. Sandals has totally revamped everything. The rooms were brand new.
Beautiful.
It was beautiful, and the service was phenomenal. So a few friends of ours had recently went, and they told us about it. They raved, so we said, you know what? Let's give it a try.
Mm-hmm. And there were some COVID restrictions, but we never left the resort. We didn't plan on leaving the resort. We weren't going to do any any of the excursions or any of that stuff. Not this time, right?
Not this time. We were just...
This was relax, connect.
Don't want to lift a finger kind of vacation.
And they absolutely did a fantastic job. The service there is, we've been to Jamaica a couple times and we've enjoyed it. But I think the service, at least at the Sandals we were at, was definitely next level compared to a lot of places.
Yeah, the service, the food also.
Yeah, it was really good.
The food was delicious. We ate seafood. You can, obviously, it's all inclusive. You can eat as much as you want, but for me, because I love seafood and not everyone does in our home, I was like, you know what? I'm eating seafood every single night while I'm here. Why not? But yeah, the service was great. The weather was really beautiful. Actually, it was much cooler than it is here at home, which has been like 100 degrees every single day.
With 100% humidity.
So it was nice to just have like a day, mid to high 80s and a nice breeze.
Warm.
It was still warm, but it wasn't unbearable. It was perfect. We had a really good time.
And it really was a great time to reconnect with each other.
It really was.
Which was kind of what you mentioned. It was a much needed vacation. We were able to spend some time sort of relaxing and dreaming about this topic, what our next 20 years looks like, and what are our goals as a couple, as a family, and then really we spent a lot of time talking about, hey, what do we want to do? What's the next step with Destination Marriage in our podcast? And what kind of episodes do we want? What are we trying to, showcase or show, or, what are our goals for the podcast and what our listeners want to hear? So
right.
It was just fantastic. We had a great time. It was
an overall just successful trip, and highly recommend Sandals. So, and honestly, we kind of went into it blindly, other than what our friends had shared with us. We had never been. But for today, we thought it'd be interesting to do a little back and forth on, like Tommy said, what is our vision for the next 20? What does that look like? Not only in our marriage, but for the podcast and other things in our lives together as husband and wife. The caveat is neither of us have seen what the other is going to say. So you'll get to hear us learn and debate what our next 20 years looks like in real time. So maybe some fireworks, who knows?
My guess is that we're probably pretty well aligned. So
I kind of think we're probably going to say the same things.
I'm sure there's going to be some things.
But I love a good surprise. So we'll see what you say.
All right, babe. So I'm going to go first. And I'm going to take probably one that we both have on here as a goal that we really have. And that's travel the world.
Yeah, that was my first one. You took it.
I knew it. I mean, we have a lot of trips that we just are pining, whether it's for just me and you, or for us as a family with the boys, or even some trips with extended family that we really all want to do. So I will only do 2, and maybe you can talk about some of the trips that you said, see if there's anything different.
Okay.
I have one of them down.
I'm sure.
I really want to go to England, visit London, visit the countryside, and go to an Arsenal game with our boys.
Yeah. That's a must.
That was one we wanted to do last year, and then, COVID happened, right?
Right. We started planning that one.
We did. Yeah. So I'll stop there. You go with what else you planned for travel the world.
Well, I did. I had put, what do I see as far as next chapters ahead? And I'm looking at it with excitement to attack new adventures with travel. So you already know what I'm going to say. Yeah, Greece. New adventures, Greece. Oh my gosh. This has been at the top of my list. I literally bought a book, just so everyone knows. If you're a close friend, you already know this. You've seen this book either on my bookcase or my coffee table. I have a book that says Greece. And I have had it for like 10 years because it has been on my bucket list for years now. And I thought Tommy and I would have probably already traveled there. Just life happens. But yes. And I want it to be a very long trip because there's so many beautiful spots in Greece, and you can't do it in a week. I mean, I think you have to, that's like a 2-week trip.
Sure. I think so.
To get your bearings.
So I put Italy again. I feel like we just scratched the surface with Italy. We did Rome and we did the Amalfi Coast. I want to do the Amalfi Coast again.
I want to do Venice.
Yeah, Venice, I'll tell you, you can do Venice alone.
Really?
Yeah, I heard it smells. It's so touristy.
No, wait, not Venice. I'm sorry.
Tuscany?
No. Tuscany, yes.
The Tuscany. That's a you and me trip. I've had multiple coworkers that I've, in just discussing travel with them, say that the Tuscan
Under
countryside.
The Tuscan sun.
That's right. They did. We talked about that movie for hours. I don't even know who's in that. But no, they said like rent a car, get a map, or you have Google Maps now, right? But like just do the countryside. It's more of a me and you trip, I think. I don't think the boys would appreciate.
I don't know if they would love Tuscany. I'm not sure, but they are getting older.
We are talking about 20 years, right? And one of my old bosses actually took her 2 kids and their significant others who were all in their early 20s. Mm-hmm. They did a trip to the Tuscan countryside. They stayed in Airbnbs and they just immersed themselves, and they said it was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it looks beautiful.
So maybe in 10 years, when both our boys are in their 20s and 30s,
both the adults. Yeah,
maybe we do it then.
Yeah, that sounds pretty
nice.
But
preview it in the next 5 years, just me and you. It's hard, I think. When we're since we're talking about the next 20 years, it's kind of you have to think differently about trips, right? Because we're going to have different ages to consider. Like, does that change what you've envisioned for the next 20 years with travel? Because it's going to be a different form of travel. We're not going to be little kid things that we're going to be doing, right?
I mean, I think it's one of those things where, when you have adult children, because at that point, in a few years, Dylan will be of college age, so things will change. But I guess, there's also going to be probably more opportunity for you and I to be able to pick up and go as well.
It's definitely easier to travel without having to worry about the babysitting.
Right. Because they're both going to be really starting new chapters in their lives. I'm sure, Brandon's going to probably move on to other things. And if Dylan's away at school, it's going to be me and you, kid. So,
all right. What other travel? Let's stick with the travel for a little bit.
Okay. So this is one thing I do know that the boys want to do. And I think that whether it's 5 or 10 years down the line, they definitely want to do this. I think it'd be a lot of fun. They want to do Germany and go to Oktoberfest.
That would be a blast.
Yeah. I think that would be so much fun. And I mean, your last name is German. I think we need to explore that.
That's your last name too there. Kuiper.
Yeah, it is.
Reminder, it's only taken her 20 years and now she remembers or forgets after 20 years. Thanks a lot. So it's kind of similar to travel, but a little bit different. We've talked about this, and I'd be interested if any one of our listeners have explored this.
I'm scared.
This is not
I
crazy.
thought you were going to throw some type of weird camping situation at me.
No, okay. I will never take you camping. Okay, let's just get over it.
I thought you were going to say that's a life goal to take me on some extreme camping.
That would be no. I've been married for 20 years. I'm wise. I hope you're not going camping. I'm not taking a Bronx girl camping.
Good.
Okay?
I'll go glamping.
No, I'm not doing that.
I'll do that.
I'm not doing that. Although we have looked at some of those really high-end...
There's some nice RVs out there. I would do that.
No. Remember we were looking at the high-end ranch, ranching and where you wear your cowboy boots and the jeans.
You can do in Arizona. You can actually, with your kids, they set up these glamorous tents. You actually have your own chef, and they teach you how to wrangle cattle. Right. And then at the night,
we looked at it, and they were all booked. It was crazy. We thought, let's look at it.
Expensive.
It's expensive, and it was all booked. So
yeah. It's like a Disney cruise expensive. I was surprised.
So I put, and this goes back to what I was saying before Jackie got scared. No need to be scared.
Okay.
We've talked about this, is really looking at being kind of a joint citizenship with Cayman Islands and being able to do all the benefits that you get from that.
We've been wanting to do that for a while. Yeah, I would love to do that. I think that's something that definitely needs to be part of that next chapter. Now that we don't have little kids,
Yeah.
Because, my job is basically remote regardless of, pre-COVID or it doesn't matter. Like I was always remote. So, as you have flexibility in your career over the next few years, then working, from Cayman, if we have dual citizenship, is something that would definitely be doable.
Because basically you have to invest a certain amount of money or buy a certain amount of value in property, and you can get that joint citizenship, and then it's a smoother process. You can enjoy other benefits, and I don't want to say tax evasion, but tax. You invest differently if you have that. Yeah.
Like if I had a division of a recruiting division in Cayman,
right? The whole thing could be incorporated there, and then
if I'm recruiting on the island, then everything that is there on the island would remain in that bank account. And of course the tax implications would be different or more beneficial to the business.
Okay. So that brings up another topic around travel that I wanted to get your thoughts on looking forward for the next 20 years, right? We're in our 40s. There's like a debate we kind of had with some of the folks that were telling us about Sandals, because they do Sandals every year. They know everybody. They love it. They do the same week. They have the same butler service. They have everything the same. They love it. Do you want to have like a place you go to as like a go-to place every year? Or do you want to every year be something new and explore? And does it change as you get older?
Okay. I do appreciate certain things about the fact that we've gone to Cayman so many times. And honestly, there is kind of a peace of mind when we used to go every year.
But we've also changed it up each time. Like we don't go back to the same place.
We don't stay at the
now
same
we go
place.
to the same places.
We do go to the same restaurants. We do go to the same
beaches
place to get our
snorkel
little.
and
we know where we go for our fish tacos. We know where. We do.
For our painkillers.
Sunday brunch, we go to the same spot. We know has the best Sunday brunch. So there are some perks to knowing what you're going to get and where you're going to be. Now, going to the same exact resort and seeing the same faces each time, I don't know if I'm to that extreme, but I understand.
It's not an extreme. It's just
we're saying the same foods, right? Now we're saying we want to see the same people each time and stay in the exact same place each time.
I definitely see the appeal of that.
Right.
I just don't think it's us.
I mean,
but
there's
will
a
it be
level of
us?
comfort there.
Yeah.
Maybe it will be us. And if you, I don't know. I mean, maybe it will.
Yeah.
I would visit another Sandals. Honestly, it was a good experience. I would go to another one. I don't know if I would go to the same one each time. There's so many of them. Why not try a different one?
Mm-hmm.
There's so many places we haven't been yet either. You know, maybe those people are even more well-traveled. They've been there. They've done that. There's so many places that are still on my list.
They settle on a place that just
like,
meets all their needs. They know what they're getting.
Right.
There's definitely, I mean, let's be honest, like there's a lot of stress in planning a vacation and then the prep right up until the vacation of getting ready and like all this stuff you have to do.
True.
Is it nice to just, you book it, you know exactly what you're doing, exactly what you're packing, boom, done.
And then of course, if you have the same butler and stuff, they know what your preferences are.
Yeah,
everything is set up for you.
I don't know. I think I'm selling myself on going to the same place every time.
I mean, it's kind of nice, you know, either way, vacation. Either way, whether it's something that you like to do repetitively or if you want to try something new. But it really was, I will say, for most of our friends and family know this, if it's just the two of us, most of the time you and I don't do all inclusive. We like to go and try restaurants and explore,
see different places. Yeah.
You know, we'll get a car and we'll explore an island or something. This was a little bit different for us because we haven't done all inclusive unless we were with our kids. Mm-hmm. So we were kind of worried, are we going to get bored being in the same spot every single day? At this stage with this, you know, in the past year of all the stress, it's just what we needed. So maybe there's going to be times where we're like, you know what, let's go away. You know what, let's just do this. We already know it. Let's go to the same resort because we don't want to lift a finger. So it's a good backup. Okay,
if we're looking 15 years into the future, maybe it's even easier if there are multiple grandkids involved and the stress and knowing what you're getting into if it's a bigger family type of an adventure.
Or like a beaches.
Right. Or even like if we all decided to get a house in Nag's Head, you know, a big house, like just knowing what you're getting. When there's multiple people, because here's a lesson we learned a long time ago.
Beach homes are not a vacation for me. It means cooking and cleaning.
But I'm just saying, but if as a general rule, if we get a house in Duck or Corolla or Nag's Head, we know what we're getting.
True.
We know the area, we made a mistake. And for any of you guys planning a big, large family trip to the Disney World area. So one of the mistakes we made that we learned was you can't get 19 people to agree on anything.
The same ride.
Right.
At the same time of day in 100-degree weather in the middle of July.
Yeah, oh gosh. So split up, get into small groups. If people want to go do that, great. Let's meet up in 3 years. Yeah,
in 3 years.
That's where my head's at. Meet up in 3 hours.
I'll see you in 3 years.
Yeah, yeah. But man, we learned that the hard way because it was 19 people. We'd go 100 feet. All right, what now?
What's next?
And then once we decided, hey, these people want to go ride that ride, great. We'll meet up for lunch. You know, you guys want to go do that? Okay, no problem. We'll meet back up. Like just. Yeah. You don't have to share every memory at all times.
Yeah.
We were hot and little kids, and it was stressful.
It was very stressful.
Because remember, the monorail broke, and it took us 2 hours just to get into Disney World.
I don't think we'll do Disney until our boys are married and have kids. I mean,
at this point, right?
Well, why? Why would I put myself through that stress? I literally have no interest in doing that at all.
Oh, I think you either made some friends or some enemies by staying then.
I just don't want to wait on. I don't like waiting on lines for rides to begin with. We've done Universal, which is fun, but I feel like Disney, because there's so many families with like little kids. Yeah. There's longer lines with strollers.
We're in a different phase.
I've already been there.
Next 20 years.
I'll just wait till Disney I have to do it again.
Yeah, Disney only happens with grandkids. I would agree with you on that. I would agree. Any other travel before we move on to the next topic?
So travel together or travel like...
Hey, this is your vision for the next 20 years, babe.
We're corralling everybody.
Whatever you got.
Everybody's going.
Yeah, we did. We took, you're right. We talked about that a little bit, about whatever you want. No, whatever your vision is.
So while we were at Sandals, just to throw this out there, because I didn't want to forget this, you can actually get a discount and put down a deposit on staying at another Sandals. That was the other thing. So I think a lot of people do that. Mm-hmm. And you can also do that for beaches. So we did reserve a spot for beaches 2 years from now.
Right. We figured, hey, we'll figure something out in 2 years.
So we'll see if anybody wants to come.
It's a pretty nice discount.
It was a nice discount. You know, you can.
And it's at worst we lose a small deposit.
Yeah. Or, everybody, actually, no, you can switch your deposit. So if nobody else wants to go, we can switch it to one of the other adults only.
Right. But if for whatever reason it doesn't work out at all, like we lose a little bit.
Right.
It's not.
We won't lose that.
You're like, we're using that.
We're using that. We're using that.
I agree. Yeah. I definitely would like to have some really big family trips in some sort, right? We don't know what that looks like yet, but I feel like we need to get back to that a little bit.
Yeah. What do you think about a cruise?
No.
Yeah, I'm not a huge cruise person.
Although, as a big family
suffocated.
trip would go, a cruise would work because you can kind of bounce around. And then, well, I don't know. But then would we argue about like what we're going to do for excursions at every stop? Or I don't know. I feel stressful just thinking about it.
The rooms make me feel cramped on a cruise. That's my only thing with the cruise. I feel claustrophobic. The bathrooms are very, very small.
Oh, yeah.
That's a little much for me. But, okay, so there are other spots that I want to go to with you. I want to go to St. Lucia. I've been wanting to go for a really long time. It's mountainous. It's beautiful. It doesn't look like any other place that we've been. Mm-hmm. I know the flight's very challenging from where we're coming from. That's the only downside is I think it's like a plus a day or something crazy, but that's not really a kid's trip.
No.
I would like to do that with you.
One of the things that I asked the boys about, actually, I posited this question to them, is if we were to go to Europe and visit Europe again, mm-hmm. would you want to see the touristy type places? Because we basically did a tourist. When we went to Italy, we did Rome.
I mean, you have to
100% tourist. Like we did all the tourist things, right?
Yeah.
Or would you rather go and visit historical places, right? The boys and I we all kind of are World War II, not buffs, but we know quite a bit. So there's so many things in Europe that would be kind of cool to see. But, and they were both like, yeah, I think so. Like, I think not a whole trip just on historical sites. That would be kind of it would probably drag a little bit, right? Yeah. But yeah, I think that's one of the things I would like to do too. Mm-hmm. Maybe in a combination, like a couple days of a trip.
Yeah.
Go visit cool historical sites, that were relevant to stuff that we're interested in. But
you mean in Europe?
Yeah, Europe in particular, just because there's so much, it's got such a history that we know about. So.
I'd like to go to Napa too. That's on my list. You and I were trying to do that a couple of years ago. I think we were
close, and then it just never worked out.
Something kind of fizzled out.
Because my company used to be based in one of my old companies was based in the
and I was going to fly out there. I would like to do that. We've never done Napa. Mm-hmm. I would like to do a nice trip out there. That's probably better for like a couple's trip. So
yeah.
But all right.
Enough with the travel. I think we agree.
Give me your second one.
If I'm looking 20 years out, mm-hmm. like. I wrote down successfully transition both of our sons into full adulthood, successful careers, perhaps marriages and grandbabies. But
that's a
balance
lot.
But as I wrote it down, I was like, that seems controlling, but it's kind of our job to navigate that, help them navigate that. Right. I mean, the transition into full adulthood is the number one piece of that.
That would be the number one piece.
And then our roles change. Mm-hmm. Right? We're parents always, but our roles will change, and making sure we do that successfully is kind of more of what I'm not going to be when are we getting grandkids if they get married? When are you going to get married? Like, I would never be that kind of controlling, but to be or to provide the amount of support so they can be successful in those areas. Yeah. I think that needs to be a continuous thing that we do together as husband and wife and as parents. But I guess that's going to be changing, right? So we need to kind of figure out what kind of support. Yeah, without being too overbearing. We've never done it before. Hand holding. I mean, they talk about when the first baby comes. Oh, they don't give you a handbook, but they don't really give you a handbook on like how to communicate with your adult children about life. There's a million handbooks on changing diapers and feeding a baby and getting them to sleep through the night. But yeah, young adulthood, or when they leave the home and the type of support when to push, when to cut them off on things. I don't know. I feel like there's more challenges there. That's probably a whole week's worth of episodes, right? Well, because some things never change when they're newborns and babies. You know what I mean? The world can change in so many different ways, but a newborn is a newborn. They don't know what's happening around them as far as the environment. The environment affects young adults, careers and schools. Agree. And so we don't even know what 10 years from now looks like with technology and the society, and how do we help them navigate that? So right? Because ultimately they have to navigate it themselves. That's number one goal. It's like, they leave the nest, you know, they're ready to fly, I guess is really, or we push them out of the nest.
Yeah.
You better fly. You're going to hit the ground.
Oh my gosh.
That's a tough transition, but that's my goal. That's one of the things I really do envision. And that's, I think starts with, again, with us as a married couple, is making sure that our marriage is strong so that that's still that foundation that they can, you know, build off of in their lives. So it's not just about how we communicate with them. It's also making sure that we maintain that foundation, that we maintain that stability.
Yeah.
I think it's important.
I think that's really important as well. I agree with you. That's a good one. That's a big one, but
That's
a good one.
Yeah. That's pretty much the next 20 years. Next.
So the next one I had down is, you know, looking at the chapters ahead, I'm looking at it with confidence. And the reason why I say that is just because, you know, I feel like we're in such a different place now after having 20 years of marriage. You know, like we mentioned, when we went on this trip, we were spending time talking about our dreams and things that we wanted to do. Now, maybe year one of marriage, looking at your dreams, because I remember going on this trip in Jamaica it was
like our second or third anniversary.
Yeah, we went and we were in the pool having a cocktail, not in the ocean. We were talking about our dreams and things we wanted to do. But the difference now, what I'm looking at it, or how I'm looking at it now, I'm looking at it with confidence, because we have so many things that we've learned that now we're able to not only dream, but I think we're really able to execute our dreams together alongside one another, because we're not really trying to, you know, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, or, you know, looking at it as though we have so much to accomplish before we can actually go after our dreams. Now I think we're just, you know, there's a match that's been lit under our rear ends. We're executing, we're moving forward, but we're definitely side by side. More so
regardless of what happens, right? We have our goals and our dreams and things we want to do, but like nobody would have thought the last 2 years would have happened 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Right. So having that stability and being side by side, I think is really, truly important.
Yeah. And that's why I say I'm looking at it with confidence, because I
love that, because we could easily say, one could easily say that or not even say it, but like be fearful and be kind of not willing to risk or, you know, be adventurous in things because of challenges like COVID and all the stuff that's happened. But I say, screw it. Let's just keep moving forward.
Yeah. I think we both agree we never want to live in a state of fear.
No, it's a terrible place to be, you know, anxious and afraid.
Yeah.
You know?
So that's what my second
real
was.
Or not. Yeah.
I'm looking at it with confidence,
like it.
so we can move forward with not only the dreams that we've already talked about, which we'll continue to dream, but now we're at a stage where we're going to execute our dreams.
We don't have a choice.
Time's a ticking.
The match that was lit is called 42 and achy.
You know, somebody asked me recently how old I was, and I forgot.
So did I. I do it all the time.
I wasn't trying to like lie or anything, but I had to stop her. I was like, wait a second, how old am I?
Oh crap, I'm 42.
Yeah.
You don't look it, baby.
Thank you. I don't think you look it either, but I guess my mind looks it, because I forgot how old I was. I was like, wait a second.
So I put, I'll do two real quick. One is we'll be celebrating 40 years of marriage in 20 years. And that's, you know, a simple statement, but there's a lot behind that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm excited about in 20 years celebrating 40 years of marriage.
I am too, baby.
There's no like, well, if we make it.
Right.
There's no, well, the average marriage is only 8 years, so, or whatever, or midlife crisis. Nah, like, I'm excited about 40 years of marriage in 20 years.
When do people have midlife crisis? When is that? Is that 40?
No, it's supposed to be, for men, it's in that mid-40s range, where, like, that's what I hear.
The mid-40s?
On good authority. It's the mid-40s where, like, that tends to happen if it's going to happen.
And the same for women?
I don't know.
Oh. I've never looked it up, so I was just curious.
Yeah, mine's just based on some practical conversations I've had, you know, where it's like, that's a real thing.
Well, we won't be having any of those.
Yeah, let's not. We had our 2020 to 21 or 20 and whatever. That was our midlife crisis. We'll just not allow anything else. Be prepared. So do you think that COVID and all the drama has changed your outlook on the next 20 years?
That's a really good question, because actually part of the next one that I was going to say was I'm looking at it with
a different lens.
Well, not only a different lens, but I think we're looking ahead, and I don't want to speak for you, but with vision. I don't really believe that in our 20s we had maybe a lot of vision in terms of, oh my gosh, we're just trying to kind of get by, buy our first house, be able to make sure we have food on the table. We're just trying to figure things out, really looking ahead at what we want, what we want to accomplish, what we want out of our continued marriage and our lives together. I think we have more vision now. Mm-hmm. And so looking at things differently now, post-COVID, 100%, I think that it's maybe changed our views in terms of maybe how we make the most of the time that we have. And, obviously you can't plan for stuff like that, but I think making the most of the time that you have, and that's why I want to really look at executing certain things instead of just being a procrastinator. For me, I look at it as, and time is of the essence.
And part of that goes back to not being afraid and not being fearful.
Right.
And living in that state of mind and how dangerous that is.
But that's a choice. I don't think most people
I completely agree with that. Agree with that. Yeah.
Naturally take that position with everything that, with so many uncertainties. I do think that's a choice. I have probably heard more fear than I have heard the position of I'm not going to focus on the fear. I'm going to focus on the things ahead versus just kind of drowning in all of the unknowns.
Well, and let's be honest, the media is stroking that sense of fear by blowing up every bad situation and making it seem.
But it's your choice.
No, it makes it harder. I'm just saying it makes it harder because you're hearing all these people that you hear them talking. It's like, what are you talking about? Yeah. Why are you thinking that way? Like, you can almost see it on their faces.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, I feel like it's also a choice to kind of immerse yourself in that or not.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree.
Because it can be I view it as a distraction, Mm-hmm. Just like there's so many other things that can be a distraction, but if you really just drown yourself in it, that's a distraction. I like good distractions. Like just spending time with you. That's a good distraction from, things that whatever, chores and stuff like that. Going on vacation.
Just let the chores pile up. Let the dishes or the laundry
will wash
pile
themselves.
Up. Yeah. We're still trying to figure that out. Maybe in the next 20 years, we'll figure out the self-cleaning kitchen.
But in the next 20 years, the other thing is our forever home. I love our house.
I didn't put that one down there.
Yeah, I think our forever home is something that will happen in the next 20 years, whether that's here or not. I don't know. I think we've been very open to where that will be, where God leads us to be.
Indeed.
Whether that's here or Cayman or who knows, whatever that looks like.
I vote Cayman.
I think that's exciting, our forever home.
Okay. All right. That's a good one. I honestly didn't put that down.
No.
Kind of along the same lines. This is super practical, so we won't spend a lot of time on it. But by the time we'd be 62 at that point, right?
Ooh.
20 years from now. So
60's the new 40.
Okay. But is really long before retirement age, a fully funded retirement. That would be one of the goals. Like have that really, humming along come 62 years old, because you hear too many stories of people that are in their mid to late 60s that are forced to work. Mm-hmm. I have a feeling we'll probably still work just because that's who we are.
I'll never stop working. That sounds like my brain will just putter out.
Then you get into a situation where you just, you're totally relying on minimal retirement and then Social Security. And it just, we want to be a blessing to our kids, our grandkids, to our community when we're definitely, now, but also when we're in our 60s and we're in that retirement age. So 20 years, let's get a fully funded retirement.
Yeah.
Don't need to spend too much time on that. That's just one of the ones I wrote down. Very practical.
But do you plan on retiring?
No, but I'm saying at 62, in 20 years from now, let's have that thing fully funded so that we can do what we make the choices, not the choice, we choose what we want to do, not it chooses for us.
Right.
Our hand's not forced.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. So it's actually a good one.
That's a really good one. No, 100%. But I was just asking because I don't really plan on retiring. And in my industry, I probably could continue to do that well into my 60s.
Right.
Even if we're retired or financially in a position where we could retire, I would still like to continue to work and be a
But
blessing.
again, if it's our choice, then it opens up doors, or, it's just, I think, wise as a general statement.
I agree. I like it.
Okay. What else you got, baby? Anything else? Is that all you had for 20 years? That's all you wanted, was just those things?
Well,
nothing about doting on your husband or just being like the sexy 62-year-old.
Why are you trying to make me 62 already?
Because it's 20 years from now. I'm just kidding.
But to that note, yes, I plan on being like super fit at 62. That's another thing. I'm not going to stop taking care of myself or eating healthy, and absolutely not. I want to be healthy and taking care of my body.
I put, health, maintaining our fitness and overall health together, and that's going to look, we don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to look, our bodies change. So we're already in different stages where we are having to be mindful of those things and looking out for each other and just being honest. I think that's important. I think there's a lot of men in particular, and I can't speak for women, but there's a lot of stubborn men in their 50s and 60s that refuse to get help for something, or just, cranky. And I don't want to be that way. I want to, if there's something going on,
I will not allow you to be a cranky old man.
Not even a cranky old man, but a stubborn old man, or a stubborn man in general.
Neither one. No cranky, no stubborn.
Yeah. If you've got a physical issue, I'm not gonna, be stubborn and say, well, it'll be fine. Some things maybe, but take your health as, doing the things that you can do, right? There's gonna be things out of our control, but the things you can do to maintain that as healthy a lifestyle as possible, don't be stubborn.
What we do now every single day, every week, that we, when we're working out, eating healthy, taking care of not only our physical health, yeah. Everything we're doing now, we're planting seeds for the next 10 years, 15 years, 20 years in our bodies. Those things will catch up to you. So, we need to continue to encourage each other to stay on the path that we're on right now. But, the crankiness,
I commit to not being a stubborn, cranky old man.
Please do not. Please don't.
Okay.
I don't want to add that, looking forward to in the next 20 years, cranky old man stage.
That's right.
Yeah, no thanks. But the other thing within the next 20 years, and actually even before then, that's probably not a 20-year thing, but obviously in the last 2 years, we started this passion project of Destination Marriage. And we have so many things that we're looking forward to in growing the podcast and growing the community, and also connecting with other couples. And we want to, just grow this community of Destination Marriage to connect with other people and hear their stories, so we can continue to share and also learn from others, because obviously we've only experienced so much in our 20 years. There's other marriages that have experienced and overcome. They've built, a business together. They've done so many things. So we're excited about the stories we have yet to hear that we'll be able to share.
Indeed. Yeah.
With that being said, though, we did put together kind of a list, a list of some exciting episodes ahead. So do you want to share some of those?
A little bit of a teaser, like I said, and it's funny how, they say like smell like triggers memories stronger than just any other thing. When I look at this,
I believe that.
When I look at this list, the memory I have is actually when we were under the umbrella on the beach with some Mai Tais or something in hand. And we were going through this list, so that's forever going to be my memory. Rum runners, whatever.
That's what it was.
It was fruit and rum. That was basically all we drank.
And like a little slice of pineapple on the top.
So a few topics that we really are excited about doing. One of the things we haven't talked about. We always talk about our experience, right, over the past 20 years. But what's it like for someone who gets married later in life for the first time? Yeah. Right. That's a different dynamic than getting married at 24 when you get married at 40. Right. And so we want to talk about that.
Actually, we're going to have special guests for that one to share their experience. Right.
Indeed. We really want to focus on destination growth again. Again, we think that's a really good one where we look at books, whether it's marriage books or just practical life books. Yeah. We've got another one coming up with that. Jackie's got some ideas around which book we're going to be doing for that. So, another topic, blending family traditions in a marriage / who wins.
That's going to be a good one.
Right? Because we got some stories to tell there.
We do.
Right? Nothing overly dramatic, but, you hear some really horror stories, and maybe we'll kind of delve into some of those we read about, like where traditions or, what's another word for like just expectations of somebody's time during certain times of the year, or,
right.
you know, how do you manage that? Right. What about similar, but maybe different is power struggles in a marriage.
Power struggles in a marriage. We did talk about that a lot when we were sipping those rum runners. That's going to be a really good one. And I think it definitely needs to be discussed. Obviously, we'll do a deeper dive on what that really looks like. But that's a very real thing. Whether or not it's, and I would imagine, especially for a couple that maybe they're married later, you know, maybe not at 20, but maybe in their 30s and they already have started their careers.
Yeah.
They're going in different directions with, you know, professionally. There could be a lot of power struggles.
And, you know, I think that, man, we could probably talk about, that could be like a 5-part episode of power struggles in a marriage, right?
Yeah.
We really thrown some good ideas around, but I think that one may be a multi step or a multi-episode topic, right? Because you have power struggles with the kids, power struggles with money, power struggles with responsibility. I mean, there's so many different things. There's episode 1, 2, and 3 of power struggles, right? Kids, money, power, or jobs. But yeah, I mean, we've got a lot coming up, guys. We're really excited. We really appreciate the feedback you do give us. It's been helpful for us to kind of frame up some of our conversations, and you know, we love hearing your feedback. Please, you know, support us by downloading episodes and making comments on Apple Podcasts. It really helps our rankings and you know, trying to move up that ladder. Everything's about these algorithms these days.
I know everything's constantly changing, so it can be hard to get in front of, you know, everyone that you want to reach. I'm sure there's a larger audience out there that we probably haven't even connected with, but things just keep changing, and we're learning as we go. Okay.
So please subscribe, you know, and download it. It's helpful for us. And, you know, we hope to, you know, like we talked about just some of these contents, whether it's the next 20 years of our marriage and what we envision, and hopefully that's helpful for you guys, or these topics we have coming up that we're really excited about. Either way, please help us by downloading and subscribing to our podcast.
Well, thanks, guys. We appreciate you giving us a listen and listening into what we have in store for the next 20 years. But we have some great episodes coming your way, and have a great week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode, and if so, please continue to listen and subscribe on Podbean, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. We would greatly appreciate positive reviews, and we will answer any questions at feedback@destinationmarriagepodcast.com. For up-to-date content and news about the podcast, you can follow us on Instagram at destination_marriage and visit our website at destinationmarriagepodcast.com. Be sure to tune in next week.